Welcome, welcome, artists and writers. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. Gonna let everyone get in slowly, watching the participant numbers going up. You can definitely share your name and where you're joining us from in the chat. Um, and yeah, I'm just gonna wait for a couple more people to join and then we'll get started. My name is Hannah Jones. I work here at the Alliance for Young Artists and Writers. I've worked here since 2014, but I'm also an alum of the program I won for writing in 2004. And I'm just excited to hopefully share as much information as I can with you all tonight. So welcome. I see some of you are sharing your name and where you're from in the chat. That's awesome. This webinar is being recorded and it may appear in our Scholastic Gold Key YouTube page. We're hopeful that it will. Closed captioning tonight is available. You can click on the CC um, at the bottom of your Zoom window. Enter your questions, any questions that you have that you want to be answered in the Q&A box, not into the chat. And tonight we'll basically be going over some basic awards information. Then my wonderful colleague Connor will go over and entering the work demonstration. Then we'll answer your questions as best we can and wrap up at 8 p.m. So, great. So, our mission. The Alliance for Young Artists and Writers identifies and supports the next generation of creative voices. Nearly 110,000 teens entered more than 310,000 works of art and writing in the 2025 Scholastic Awards. Um, that meant that more than 2,800 national medals were presented to more than 2,400 teens. Um, Regional programs awarded nearly 14,000 gold keys in art categories and more than 5,000 gold keys in writing categories. Um, this amazing program, which again I was a part of when I was younger, was founded to preserve the legacy and shepherd the future um, of the Scholastic Art and Writing Awards. The Alliance, which is what our team is, activates a vibrant network of teen artists and writers, alumni, and educational partners across the United States and Canada, which, as I mentioned, creates opportunities for recognition, exhibition, publication, scholarships, and community building. And we celebrate the transformative power of creative expression. Eligibility. Do you create art or write? Are you in grades 7 through 12 in a US or Canadian school? Are you 13 years or older? Those are the first three questions to ask yourself. And if the answer to all of those is yes, then you are eligible. Public, private, homeschool students of schools in the US or Canada all can enter. You will be put in a region based on your primary school's address, or if you're homeschooled or virtual, your home address. If you turn 13 before your entry deadline, you can make an account after your birthday and enter. If you turn 13 after, even if it's only a day, unfortunately, you'll have to wait until next year. We'll have a demonstration later on in the presentation, but to get started, you're going to want to go to accountportal.artandwriting.org, upload your original work, complete your payment or use a fee waiver, and deadlines begin as early as December 1st, 2025. So definitely check your region to find out when your deadline is. The best tip that I always give is to try and not wait until the very last day. Give it a couple of days because something always goes wrong for me personally when I encounter technology. So I like to give myself a buffer period. Um, Payment. Entry fees and fee waivers. It is $10 for an entry and $30 for a portfolio. Fee waivers are available for teens for whom the entry fee poses a barrier to participation. Please use it if it's needed. If you are able to pay, please do. The small fee will help a national community of creative teens participate in the program. As you'll see during the demonstration, teens will be prompted to pay for entries through Stripe The cost for an individual entry is $10, as I said, and $30 for a portfolio. Some regions may allow payment via cash or check. Again, you'll have to check with your region. Um, you can use a fee waiver on the payment page. There's no need to apply or fill out a form for one, and you can use as many fee waivers as you need to. Educators can also pay for teen entries directly from their educator dashboard or use a fee waiver themselves. Okay, so this is always a very interesting point and one that people have a lot of questions on. And it differs, I think, from judge to judge. But the three main Scholastic Awards criteria that we ask each of our jurors to look at are originality, skill, and the emergence of a personal vision or voice. And we sort of, I think, list them this way to kind of emphasize originality and personal vision or voice. Those are kind of like the sandwich around the skill. So originality is like, what is the original thought that's being conveyed here? What is the concept, the idea that might be unique to this writer? Um, on that level, that's why we sort of emphasize no fan art or high quality reproductions of existing artwork. We're really, the emphasis is on originality. What are you seeing and how are you seeing it? We also recommend no classroom assignments. This is not a no classroom assignments allowed. The recommendation is that a lot of classroom assignments, sometimes they read like classroom assignments, but if you've taken an essay or an assignment that you have that you feel really transcends and is original, an original work that doesn't read per se like an essay like this is what I had to do when I did it for school and that was what I submitted. If it's something that you're really proud of, definitely submit it. It's not a, there are no assignments allowed. It's more of a, is this something that is original to me? Am I saying something that is unique? Skill is important. This is like the breadth in artistic concepts varying on the medium. Like, what is your punctuation, your grammar? What references are used? What are the technical abilities to document and share the work? And then finally, which ties in, I think, really closely with originality, is the emergence of a personal voice or vision, voice for writers and vision for artists. And this is that little spark where, again, the judge takes note and says, like, I've read a lot, I've seen a lot. This is something different. This is something that speaks to the emergence of a personal vision or voice. Okay. There are currently 29 categories of art and writing to choose from. You can read the category descriptions on the website, and I think someone can also drop that into the chat for you to click on. Art and writing portfolios are only open to graduating seniors. In those portfolios, you can absolutely enter previously awarded work. It is meant to be sort of a collection of your strongest work, and so if that best represents your current voice, definitely include it. The Scholastic Art and Writing Awards provide 16 gold medal portfolio recipients with $12,500 scholarships and 24 silver medal portfolio recipients with $2,000 scholarships. There are also many other scholarship opportunities and cash awards. The website has a list of all of them, of all the scholarships and the special awards that we currently offer. Some of these are open to one category only. Some are open to multiple. For these scholarship opportunities, a short written statement will be required, except for with American Voices and Visions and Best in Grade. That will all be in the portal, and you will see where to include that and to opt into that when you are uploading your works. At the national level, as I mentioned, 16 gold medal portfolio awards will receive $12,500. 24 silver medal portfolio with distinction receive 2,000 cash award. There is the Her Block Award for Editorial Cartoon, which offers $2,000 scholarships to three students whose visual art offers commentary or criticism on current events, social events, or political topics. There is the New York Life Award, which provides $2,500 to 10 students whose works explore death, personal grief, loss, and bereavement. And there will be a series of workshops focused on those creating those works in April of 2026. The Flaunt It Award offers two One Art, One Writing $2,000 scholarships to teens who look or feel different from their peers and share their personal story about what makes them unique. The American Voices and Visions medals come with a $500 cash award for one nominee from each region. Approximately 150 works receive this cash award in total. Um, the Best in Grade Award offers $500 to 24 works at the national level, two art and two writing per grade from grades 7 through 12. There are also educator opportunities. Educators of national winners receive gold or silver medals, and educators of most scholarships, except for American Voices and Visions, also receive a cash award. Educators of gold and silver artworks receive Blick art materials and gift certificates as well. And now I'm going to stop sharing my screen and pass it to my colleague Connor, who will give a wonderful portal demonstration.
All right, thanks, Hannah. I'm going to take over and share my screen. Just give me a second to set everything up. Mhm. Okay. Should- 1 second, gotta maximize my window. Okay. Mhm. So I'm going to create a new account from scratch to just walk us through the whole process as a team. So for your birthday, you have to pick a date that, makes you older than 13 years old to fit our eligibility requirements. And then I'll select a grade. I'm going to do 12th. So then you'll fill out, your basic biographical information. Pronouns and ethnicity are optional, and you can either select or you can type anything into this and use it to self-describe. You're going to need an email address. We recommend one that can receive like outside emails. So, maybe not your school account if you don't think that emails from us will make it to your inbox. Because we'll use this email to communicate with you if you we had an announcement or like we need information for you about your work, etc., etc. It's my old apartment address, so I'll use it, whatever. Okay. For my parent and guardian, I'm going to do my own name, but you should put your actual parents' information or guardian information. So then for school, we have these three options. We have a like an in-person typical high school or middle school. We have a virtual school and a homeschool option. If it's a homeschool, you're not going to need to fill anything else out. If it's a virtual school, you'll search just like you would with a in-person school. This is important because it determines what region you're going to be entered in when you create your account. You'll be entered in based on your school zip code, or if you're a virtual or homeschool participant, based on your home zip code that you gave earlier when filling out this create an account page. For our purposes, I believe there is a fake school for me to join. I think it's called Demo, only New York City school. Let's hope it pops up for me. Yes, all right. So here we have my fake school in New York City. Oh, I did not want to do that. I don't know, I might have forgotten something. 1 second, let me skim. There we go. All right, here is the dashboard, like the home page of your account. you'll see that the deadlines for your region, art and writing, because they might be different as they are in this case, are going to be listed on the right side of your dashboard right here. And then these links, I'm not going to click them, but these links will take you to the regional web page for your region, and that's where you can see like announcements and like dates about like ceremonies or exhibitions or any other kind of like pertinent information for your region. Like I know the New York City one has like I don't know if it's there right now, but eventually it posts information about like when the regional exhibition is and stuff like that. I'm gonna go over. So the profile page is where you can like edit anything about you, like your name or your address. It's important because if you win an award, your name is gonna be what's auto-generated on your participant account. I mean on your like certificates. So you can change it then after you win an award to kind of reflect better what you want it to show up as. Here we have parent or guardian. So I'm already over 18 with the year I entered, so I'm not needing to do anything else right here. But if you weren't, you can resend parental permission if it hasn't been granted already from this page. School and program. So this shows the school I added. Now, if I want to credit, let's say, a tutor that worked with me on a piece of art or writing, or a after-school program, you will want to do it here with other educational program. So your teacher will or tutor or whatever will need like a program to be listed here in our system already. I think we have made the same like one with the exact same name. Um, Demo only New York City school, but this is our after-school program. So a little bit different. And you click add, and then it will pop up here. And so you can only have as a team one primary school. But you can have, I think, an unlimited number of other educational programs. So if you're in multiple ones and would like to credit like multiple institutions, you can do that. All right, and then here is support, where if you need help with anything, you can fill out our little contact form. So if you have any questions after this webinar that we're not able to get to, you can head here to ask them. And then I'll go to our entries page. So this is where you can generate work, and you'll see because I am a 12th grader that there's a tab for work and that there is a tab for portfolios. So if you're going to make a portfolio to enter into that category, you'll want to switch over to this tab. But now I'll get into the work generation process. So I'll click add work. All right, on this first page, it's pretty self-explanatory. You're just going to enter the basic information. So the title, test work. Type of work. This is where you just decide between art or writing. I'm going to do art for this first one. Category. I'm going to do painting. So here on the school and educator information, it's important. This is like one of the most important steps of this page. So if you don't want to credit an educator or your school with the work, you can click here and then this goes away, and it's that simple. But if there is an educator that you want to credit, you'll want to make sure you select the school that they're at, and then you'll be able to select the educator that's attached to that school from this list. I'm also an educator at that school. Um, so once you do that and click save and close or save and continue, this work will appear on your educator's account in the portal, and they'll be able to upload your artwork, pay for the work, edit details, etc. Basically help you with the entry process. So, if you want their help for it, you have to connect them on this page to the work. All right, and here we're at the upload process. You can see the information I entered on the last page right here. You could add dimensions and then materials. So the trick with this is after you enter material, you have to press enter or it won't save. You can enter as many as you want, and you can, it's not like a drop down. You can type any type of specificity that you'd like. And then you're gonna upload your image. I saved one already in my download, so let me try and drag it here. Okay, sweet. You can see that my image has appeared right here in a preview. If I don't like it anymore, I'll click X. But I do like it, so I'm not going to do that. If you have a work and it like is in one of our 3D categories, like sculpture or mixed media or fashion, jewelry. Anyway, this is ceramics. There's a couple of different ones. There's actually multiple you can upload multiple files so that you can show your work from different angles, different like perspectives, different scales to like help showcase its details to the jurors. You can see that the accepted file types kind of small right here because I'm a little zoomed out, but are right under the upload images section. So, if you're entering into our film and animation category, the file types are going to be different than those that are accepted for painting. All right. In here, we have a section for you to indicate what sources that you used when you're entering your work. This is more of like a informal location. Don't think of this as like a bibliography. It's more of a place where you can be like, oh, I used a reference image from this website, or oh, my work is inspired by a painting by this artist, or oh, I'm referencing this text in my writing piece. So if you do any of these, which they have little eyes to help explain, little hover over information things help explain the question. So I can say no, yes, no. Um, if you answer yes to one of the above questions, you can list your source. You know, um, you type in whatever you want to hear, reference that I found. And then if you have more than one, you just press this little plus and another source will come up. And if you don't want one of them, you plus the minus and it goes away. Wow, typo. It's that simple. For writing categories, which I can show a bit later, if it's like a category like critical essay or journalism, ones that actually like works that actually normally compared with like more formal bibliographies or works cited, there's actually an additional field like that's not this to enter those into. So you don't have to worry about like copy and pasting your like 25 MLA Chicago APA sources into this. There's a separate place for that. But I'm gonna click save and continue. So this is our scholarship page. So we have two opt-in scholarships that you can indicate a work should be entered into that Hannah described. When you're going to do that, you're just going to click a simple yes or no, and then we have a space to enter in a statement that the jurors will read when deciding who wins the scholarship. I'm just going to copy and paste this here. There is like a word limit and a minimum. It appears like down here if you don't get into it, like if you surpass it or don't meet it. All right, so I've gone through the info, the upload, the cache awards, and I'm on the final review page. So, um, here's that basic information. Here's the uploads, the sources. Here's like, a summary of what we put. The cache awards. This is this is our statement. I just copied and pasted the description, but this will be the statement that you entered. And here is your personal information. If all of this is correct, we can go ahead and click enter for judging. If we click edit on any one of these tabs, it will just take us back to one of these pages that relates to the one that we clicked enter into. We clicked edit onto. I'm gonna click enter for judging. I'm gonna click pay later right now to showcase you and show another way of how to pay. But if you click pay now, it'll take you directly to the payment screen. You can click pay later. And then you can see my work is right here. We're back on the entries page. Let me zoom out so we can see the full screen. And you can see a little thumbnail with an image of my work. And then if I want to edit it again, I click here. If I want to go back to the review page, I click review. And if I no longer like it, I click delete. I'm going to click pay, however, so to show you what the payment page looks like. All right, so here's an important part. When you go to the payment page, it's gonna like default to your writing or your artwork. It's because like if you have different regions for your writing or artwork, the payment goes different places. So we're doing art. So make sure you click on the right drop down when you're doing this. We're gonna see my work right here. If I have multiple ones will appear and I can pay for more than one at a time. I can also qualify for a fee waiver, which just means you would like to use one here. So I would click this little guy right here. And then, again, we ask that if you can pay, you please do. Your nominal entry fee helps us like support a community of creative teens and the participants in this program. And then you just click certify and it marks it as fee waived. I'm not gonna do that right here because I want to show you the actual payment page on Stripe. But it's really that simple. This button and then this button. And I know some people are concerned about it, but jurors don't see if a work was fee waived. They don't see how a work was paid for at all. So don't feel reticent or reluctant to use a fee waiver if that's what you wish to do. But to pay for a work with a credit or debit card, I'm going to click this right here to select my work. Again, if there's more than one I want to pay for, I'll select more than one. I'll see a little subtotal right here. Then I'll click the payment type. New York City only accepts payments via credit or debit card, so there's no cash option to select here. But if our region did, there would be an option to click cash. And you just select that and then click the pay button. This is a warning. So if your work is in like you can edit your work after payment. Like you can change the upload, you can change the dimensions, the materials, you know, the scholarship descriptions if you like, but you cannot change the category. Um, so make sure it's correct. If it's not correct, the only way to like kind of enter your work in the correct one is to delete it and then re-enter it. So make sure your category is correct before you pay. And click confirm. It's going to ask me if I want to leave this site. I do. And we are going to go to Stripe. Um, Here you're going to have yourselves, your educator, a parent or guardian, a friend that has, some extra money laying around to just complete the payment process. You enter an email. You'll click a payment option. You'll enter all of this here. I don't want to actually pay for this work. And then click pay. And it will send you a receipt so that your payment has been completed and your work status in the portal. If we go back to our earlier tab, which sorry guys, the Zoom control bar is like right in my way for this. Nope, I didn't Siri. Oh, I just have to click back actually. Mhm. It will mark the work as paid, but again, I don't want to do that. Oop. Okay. And that is the entry process. I'm gonna show writing really quickly. Um, just because I want to show what the like upload box looks like. All right. Again, it's pretty simple. You are just going to copy and paste your writing into this text box. You can copy and paste it from Google Docs, from Word, from Pages, however you have it saved on your computer. The formatting might get a little funky if you copy and paste it. It just depends on like the source of where you're copying and pasting it from. So make sure to double check that after you put it in here. You can see our minimum for flash fiction is between 1 and 1,000 words. And we have a variety of like formatting options for you to choose from in the text box itself. Yeah, I hope that helps. And I will also go back because I remembered that I wanted to show the footnotes category or box. Oops. Oh, and here if I select after school, well, the same educators pop up here because they're the same there because I also made accounts for those. Um, but it'll be different normally. Oh my gosh, I made so many mistakes. Okay, and then here is again that text box, our different minimum maximum because this is a different category. And then here is our footnote citation section. I don't believe there is a word count for that, so they can be as long as you want them to be, or as long as it's required by the citation method chosen. And as it says in this instruction box, we don't require a specific citation format. Use whatever format, APA, MLA, Chicago, um, that best supports your work. Whatever you use when like drafting it originally, whatever you feel most comfortable with, please use here. Alrighty, and I think that is it for the demo. So I'm going to end my screen share and turn it back over to Hannah.
Thank you. Working on getting my Zoom too. There we go. Okay, amazing. Gonna reshare my screen. Um, and you can definitely all keep asking your questions in the Q&A box. Hopefully, we're giving some good answers, and then Connor and I will also work on answering some verbally if time allows, which I think it might. Um, so, um, Entry deadlines vary by region, as I mentioned, and they will begin as early as December 1st, 2025. Um, to find your region, you can go to artandwriting.org/regions, and that will let you know when your deadline will be. The regional announcements day will be Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. Um, it's a very exciting time. That's when you can log into the portal and find out what you have won. Um, okay, so a lot of questions in the chat were about categories. I saw some questions that were about the difference between flash fiction and short story, and some various questions about what category you should submit into. You can review all of the categories. I believe a link to that was dropped into the chat. Um, Choose the category wisely. That's sort of part of entering is figuring out what the piece of media that you have created falls under. Is it flash fiction? Is it a short story? Is it a short story? Flash fiction is really it's short. It's usually under 1,500 words. This is just to answer the question that I saw, and it doesn't have a hard and fast definition. So again, it really is based on what you feel your piece fits into best when you consult the different category descriptions. Again, don't include any personal identifiers like your name, your school, etc. in your work. That's another thing to check for if you are submitting a school assignment to make sure that you don't include any information about yourself. One of really the wonderful things about the awards is that the juror doesn't know anything about who you are or where you're from. They just are reading what you've written or witnessing what you have created and responding to that. So we want to keep that level of anonymity as much as possible. Check out and definitely review the copyright and plagiarism guidelines, including our new AI usage guidelines for 2026. Definitely cite your sources, especially if you are giving us a classroom project. I saw one question that said, if I mention the name of a book in my play, do I need to cite that? Absolutely not. You're just mentioning the name of the book. But if you're quoting from the book, you will need to cite that. So if there's like a paragraph that you're quoting from that book, then cite that in your sources. I, again, would recommend completing your entries, if possible, before the Thanksgiving break so you can attend all of these webinars for support. If you have any trouble, you can come and ask in real time at the next one of these webinars. Go to the next. You have a lot of notable alumni. Like I went to school with one of them, two of them actually, Zach Bozen and Lena Dunham. Um, so there are many that you can view here, but your name could also be on this list. Um, and then we'll be presenting it to another group of young writers and artists. Okay, so I'm going to open things up for question and answer. So I'm going to pull up my Q&A box and see if I can answer any questions live and if anyone else wants to join me. Um, you absolutely can. And I'm going to answer. I have a question that says, do I need to state my reference if it's a picture I took? I don't believe so. If you took the picture, if you want to include it, if it's relevant in some way, then please feel free, but you do not have to reference it if it's something that you yourself created. Summarizing a book briefly, I don't believe that needs to be cited. Someone can correct me if I'm incorrect about that, but I think if you're mentioning a book, if you say this and that happens in the book, that does not need to be cited. I think just mentioning that it is a book that exists is that is the citation. Um, Here's a question for the poetry category. Is it possible to have my poem displayed under a false name as preferred um, oops, just disappeared. As preferred post entering on my real name. Thanks. This is a complex question and one I'm not entirely totally sure how to answer. I think that there are definitely ways to keep your submissions private if they receive awards on the regional or national level. And that may be the best way to keep your name off of work if that is the goal, to have that remain private and not show up online or published in our publications. I'm not sure if that answered your question, so please feel free to ask it again with more clarification. Um, Let me see. I will answer. Whoop. If I write a poem for for a character in a book based on my understanding, does it fulfill the requirement? I definitely would like it if you can you just clarify this question a little bit? I'm not entirely. Does that mean that you're like writing a poem for a character that exists in a book? Is that not, does that count as fan fiction? That's my understanding of this question. If you're writing a character, and to my knowledge, I would say that if you're writing a poem for a character that falls um, in the realm of fair use and outside of copyright laws, then that is totally fine. I would probably not do something that is more recent that might fall within the realm of copyright for those characters. I don't know if that made sense. Um, For a fee waiver, do I just check the fee waiver? Sorry, the everything keeps moving. Okay. Do I just check the fee waiver box and get the work fee waived and have to do nothing else? Yeah, that's it. If you need to waive the fee, then that's absolutely all that you have to do.
I'll answer a question or two, Hannah, if you want to take a slight
Thank you. I'm
break for a
gonna take a
minute.
sip of a drink.
Yeah, we got a few questions about artistic signatures, like, in the corner of an artwork or on your canvas. We recommend students don't include them because it can technically violate the anonymity of the judging process, but we also understand that like, oh, I've already entered it, I can't change it. You're not gonna get disqualified most likely for having the signature. We just recommend that it not be there. But like if you already finished your entry and the signature is there and there's no way for you to like Photoshop it out or to cover it, don't worry about it. Seriously, it's fine. Um, can I have my work displayed under my first and middle name without my last name? I mean, that's like a bit of a slightly tricky question. The work is going to be like the certificate you generate and the like letter you get, and if your regional partner exhibits it, all that information is going to be pulled from your portal. So it's going to be pulled from the name that you use when you're creating your account, but at the same time, that name doesn't have to be your like official, like it doesn't have to be like a legal name. We're not like checking it against like a registry, a registry of like names. You can use a nickname. You can use your first and middle name instead of like a first and last when creating your account. Like we don't actually have any specifics like requirements for like what a name is. So please feel free to like use your first and last name when creating your account. And you can also like change it. Like if you want your certificate to say something else, but you want your like, full name to still be in the portal, you can, if you win an award, you can change your name for like a minute. The certificate will generate with that new name and you can change it back. It's really pretty informal with that. So don't be too worried about how your name appears. Um, what else is there?
I saw a good question. I can't find it to click answer on it, but it was a question of if we win a gold medal, what happens? Um, And so yeah, when we get gold, what happens? So if a gold key regionally is if you on the announcement day on, I believe it was January 28th, you go into the portal and you see that you have a gold key, then that means that you will receive the gold key mailed to you, but your work will also go on to national judging, at which point it can receive any of the scholarships that were mentioned, gold medal, silver medal, and gold medalists are, and also other special award winners are invited to join us for the national ceremony to be celebrated for your incredible achievement. It's my favorite 3 days of the year.
All right, I'm back on the name questions because I saw a few more of
No,
here.
please answer those.
Okay, if it's a writing work and the name is central to the piece, like it's a poem that uses your name, or it's a personal essay that really, relates to like your name or the definition of your name or how you came to be named, it's totally fine. Keep your name in there. With writing, what we're mostly referring to is like, like when you're doing a school assignment and you put your name, the date, whatever, like in the top left corner. Please don't do that. Please take that out. It's like the judges aren't gonna know really who it is based on like your last name being included or even your first name and last name because people have the same first and last names all the time. It's more like we just don't want like that little header that's like grade this like this grade, this teacher, this student name. Just take those out. But like, if the name is like important to like the thematic construction of your work, please keep it in. Don't worry about it. Don't get stressed about that. And I'll pass it back to you, Hannah.
I can jump in for a sec. I
Please
see
do.
so a couple of questions about collaborative pieces. So unfortunately, works cannot be entered as a group. Only one team can officially be attached to a specific entry. You can add collaborator information, such as names to the work sources category, but only one team can be credited on the work. And this includes works in the film and animation category. So please use your best judgment. All right, back to Hannah and Connor.
We've had a lot of questions about the artist statements. Those have been removed from the entry process. You might like still see like on the review page like a little section that says like work statement, but that's just a holdover from when those were part of the entry process. Ignore it. It's not going to affect your entry at all. They were removed just based off like feedback we received from jurors and participants. We thought that they just weren't additive enough to the adjudication process to warrant the type of like effort and energy they require from students. Um, what
I'm
else?
checking to see if there are any other there are some questions about like if you're telling a story that has illustrations in it, where the best place to submit that would be if there's a book that has pictures, that there's what part, like where do we submit that? And I think that for, I don't know, I don't really think that we have in our category, like illustrated novel category, illustrated illustrations with writing. So I'd probably suggest like splitting it up, submitting the art elements to the relevant category and the writing elements to the relevant category, just for the sake of if that is the work that you want to present. Um, there's a question about how, without the artist statement, how will jurors know what your work is about in order to understand it, to judge it best? I think the again it's that it's the jurors going to take in the work of art. How do they respond to it? How does it make them feel? What like I think it would be similar to someone walking past a piece of art like in a gallery. Maybe they're not like looking to see what inspired it. They're looking to see how it made them feel in the moment. Like, did they stop? Have they looked deeper into it? Artists, without the artist statement, I think the juror is looking at the art itself and what it conveys. Does that seem like the correct answer to my colleagues here? Let me see.
There's
I
a
think there
question about, oh,
no, go
Hannah.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say there's a question about how do I know if I need to use the fee waiver? I mean, we don't have any qualifications a student has to meet to use the fee waiver. It's really just, it's a personal decision. If you feel that you need it and it would help you enter a work or, multiple works, please use it. Again, the nominal fee does help support our organization, but really we're not gatekeeping the use of it. Please feel free to use if needed.
Um, I'm telling a short story through verse. What should I submit it as? That's a really good question. I think you can choose either short story or poetry, depending on, again, what you think feels right. I probably would err on the side of poetry because a lot of poetry also tells a story through verse. But again, that is a personal choice and decision. If it's a story that has like a beginning and a middle and an end, then it would also fall into a short story category. Um, I see a lot of questions about pieces inclusion in, I believe, Grounded, which was our collection of writing and art. Was it the collection of writing from this past year? Um, I'm not actually sure how many pieces are included, but it is complete. I think it's just based on the amount of space that we have in their selections. We try to make sure that every location is covered, that we have a voice from as much of the country and Canada as we possibly can represented in the book. Um, Can I submit photography pieces talking about today's political issues compared to my personal experience? Absolutely. That sounds amazing. I love the sound of that. How many jurors judge the national art competition? Connor, do we have a sense? Like, there's a lot of jurors. There are a lot of jurors. It's a lot of works. I remember I mentioned the number of nationally awarded works. Um, there are a lot of nationally awarded works. And there are a lot, we have a lot of jurors in all different categories, and they really love doing this. Every juror that I've ever spoken to is blown away by the works that they feel lucky enough to judge, and always want to come back year after year. But there are hundreds of jurors. There are hundreds of jurors, both regional and on the national level. And there are jurors that are based in each region and state, as well as jurors who judge on the national level. Multiple jurors look over each work, each submission. I believe at least two jurors look at every work. Um, what if you feel like your piece conveys a message, but it isn't strong enough in your opinion and might not resonate with others? Does that make your art ineligible to be submitted if it's made more for personal enjoyment? I honestly, so for me, I submitted every year when I was in high school, and I would submit like all of my favorite things that I thought were the best. And I'd get like a silver key sometimes, and that was very exciting for me, very wonderful. And then when I was a senior, I was like, I'm gonna submit. I like left it until too late. Don't be like me. This is a cautionary tale. I left it until too late, so I just sort of put my most recent works together, and I wasn't really thinking about it, and it wasn't even the stuff that I would say is the stuff that I was the most proud of. And that was when I won a gold on the national level. So I feel like it really, you can't judge it, you can't game it, you can't like decide what is going to resonate with the juror, someone else reading your work. So if it's something that you would like to submit, do it. If you feel like it's not strong enough, ask yourself, why do I feel like this isn't strong enough? Is it something that you want to work on and improve, or is it that you're holding it up to the standard of somebody else's writing? Just hold it up to your own standard. That's what I would suggest for that. We have a question. If I write on Google Doc and it recommends me words or spelling, would that count as AI? I do not think so. I I would not count my own spell check as AI, which I would be lost without, so that should be fine. We're really the rules, and you can read more closely online about the copyright and plagiarism and AI usage rules, but it's really generative AI that we are not open to submissions of. There is a rubric. I don't know if any of my colleagues has that open and like a link that they can drop into the chat. Um, but that would be, if that's helpful, there is a rubric that you can look at. Um, let's see. I'm writing a story that classifies as fictional autobiography, but it has poetic verse. Should I submit it in the novel, or memoir or poetry category? That seems to me to be like a memoir. I feel like personal essay and memoirs also can play around a lot with the form and format. So I would say personal essay memoir probably if it's a fictional, but if it's a fictional autobiography, then it should be a story, I would say.
We have a question. Can I submit multiple portfolios or am I limited to one? You could submit two writing portfolios and two art portfolios, so technically four total, but no more than that. And that's our limit for the portfolio category.
I have a question about what rights the program gains regarding usage of the submissions. It's literally just that we say that we're able to, if that we're able to print it in the books, the publications that we make. And it's non-exclusive and we have no like rights to your work. It just when you sign up, it literally just gives permission to publish your works in our publications.
And some of our like e-blasts and stuff
Yeah,
used
like
to
our
even work,
online
or like,
materials.
this PowerPoint.
Or like this PowerPoint, exactly.
Can you submit a portfolio and individual pieces separately? Yes. So you can submit works in portfolio. A portfolio is made of six works, and then, you can also have those works considered individually, but you'll want to go and make separate, distinct entries for each of those individual works that you want considered on the individual level. And it's actually pretty common. A lot of portfolio winners actually win on the portfolio level and on the individual level as well. What else?
I've seen a few questions about entering work that's been submitted in previous years. You can, as long as this work hasn't been awarded regionally or nationally. So as long as that is true, you can submit the same piece. Also, if
Then
you
yes.
have, if you
No,
submitted
Lorenzo,
as
do
part of
something.
a portfolio before as well, you can't submit a piece that's been in an awarded portfolio.
But you can enter work that has, so the only exception is if your work has been awarded, you can enter it into a portfolio. So let's say you won like a gold medal for a piece last year, you can put that in your senior portfolio this year if you're entering a portfolio.
That is the
And
one
yeah,
exception to the rule.
yes. So which we encourage as well.
Let
There are
me,
no size restrictions on the painting category. The only stipulation that we give is that, like, if your piece is super large, it might not be possible for the regional exhibition that you might have to exhibit it, or if you're invited to the national exhibition, it might not be possible for the national exhibition to exhibit it because of size restraints.
there's a question about a poem that's a pastiche of another poem. I would cite that. I would use that in works referenced, but if it transforms the original work, if it is a transformative work, then that should be fine. But definitely cite the work that it is a pastiche of.
Oh, we have a question. Is the national ceremony live streamed for Canadian participants? How does it work if someone from Canada wins? The national ceremony is not typically live streamed. It wasn't last year at the very least. There is a recording of it though, right, Hannah, that we post online? Um,
Yes.
How does it work if someone from Canada wins? It's much the same process if someone from Canada wins as someone from the US. You're invited to Carnegie Hall and all the events like that we have in New York City and the exhibition. Really, it's not particularly different for a Canadian student than from a student based in the United States.
Connor, here's a good question that I feel like maybe you can answer. What are the most common snags students run into when submitting for writing?
I think probably the most common snag relates to the formatting of works because it can just
Hmm.
be it can change depending on like I think I mentioned it in the demo like where you're copying and pasting from, and even the word count can change. Like for example, like Microsoft Word and Google Docs sometimes give different word counts depending on like which one you're checking. So it just is really important that after you review your piece to go through it to take the time to scroll scroll down the text box and make sure things look how you want them to appear. It can be especially sensitive with poetry pieces to just be like extra aware when entering those that the formatting might shift or you might have to like go back and like manually adjust it, line by line. Um, but yeah, that's really I think the most common snack for writing entries. We have some questions about um, dimensions. If we mess up dimensions without noticing, will it be penalized? Um, not really. I mean, the jurors will look at it and they might take it into consideration, but it's not like they have like a point system they're deducting like points from necessarily when it comes to like the dimensions of artworks. It's more of it just helps them get a better understanding of a piece. Like it helps them like put it in like frame it in their mind, like understand like what it would look like if they're at an exhibition or a gallery. So it's just like a helpful tool, but it's not like the most important tool. And you're not gonna like you can still win an award if you mess up on the dimensions.
And there was a question that says, so artworks in a portfolio can be submitted as each individual artworks. Yes, you can submit works. Same with writing portfolios as well. If you have poems in a portfolio that you want to submit separately to the poetry category, that's absolutely fine. If you have photographs that you want to submit separately from your art portfolio, absolutely fine.
We have a question about if I'm invited to the award ceremony, when transportation be an issue. We do have a like a limited number, but we do offer a travel stipend for students who might need financial assistance to come to the awards in New York. Again, we have a limited number, but you basically, if you find out you win, you can apply for it and then perhaps receive one.
Yeah, and for some further details on the travel stipend, these are awards of about $1,000, which you can apply towards travel, towards your hotel, or getting to the national ceremony. And they're distributed in two separate Amex gift cards to use to activate digitally. And feel free to reach out to our contact us form if you have further questions.
Um, What awards get to go to NYC? Is it possible for freshmen too? Yes, absolutely. Again, Connor's answered that as well. But if you like, all gold medalists are invited to join us in NYC for the national events. And if you need assistance in traveling, there is a travel stipend that you can submit to. We are almost out of time. So I just wanted to thank everyone so much for coming tonight and sharing all of your questions. And hopefully, we were able to answer them and we will continue to answer them. We have how-to videos on our YouTube at Scholastic Gold Key. You can check out previously award-winning works at the gallery and view our anthologies at artandwriting.org/classroom guides. And I don't know if Connor has anything else that they would like to share. But thank you all so much for coming. And thanks also to our sponsors who help us present these awards and give our scholarships out. And there will be another how to enter webinar, I believe on December 2nd, which I remember because it is my birthday. So if you need to have your questions answered then, please feel free to join. Thanks so much, everyone. I will stop my sharing now. Thank you all so much.